Tradition is tradition, but there are so many traditions that have been abolished. Hello everybody, it's the cute educator here. Welcome to class. Well, this weekend has been a roller coaster of emotions, and initially on Friday I already had like a video to post, although it had some issues, the voice recording, but then I had a video to post. But I came online and then started scrolling and then started seeing some really heartbreaking videos, right? And you rethink of some things that I've always had in mind for a very long time. I would literally divide this video into 5 main points that I have. First one is traditions can change, right? I have seen a lot of people talk about how tradition is tradition, culture is culture. Now, first of all, let me even make this straight. When it comes to cultures and someone who loves culture, I am there. Like it is me. When you're talking about, I find it very exciting to learn about other people's cultures. In fact, in primary school, when other people were choosing more serious clubs, I chose to join cultural dance because I just feel like that's what really truly makes us unique. The fact that each culture has something unique to offer: food, clothes, dancing, and all that. But that is not to also remove the fact that cultures and traditions that are harmful rather than entertaining. Now, some people, I saw some comments in under some posts that were saying, oh, tradition is tradition. And then I remind you that tradition can be changed. Now, let's even go back a bit into history when there used to be a time where twins were being killed for some kind of spiritual reason or whatever belief systems people had then. And what happened? That tradition of killing twins was abolished. Now, I'm sure a lot of you imagine if that tradition was not changed. A lot of twins that we see today would have been killed for just being twins. But that is a tradition that has come and has gone. And there are so many of this is a very common and popular one, but there are so many other traditions that have come and have gone. Some went away through they had to be like some important activism that backed them up for them to change, and there were some that just faded away naturally. So when you say tradition is tradition, tradition is basically that can be changed, right? The same way humans formed them, the same way humans can change them. This brings me to my second point: awareness. Now, before something can be changed, you need to be aware that it even exists. We know because we saw, meaning that videos came up, things came up, and then people were able to see. I'm very sure this has existed for so many years, but what we are not aware. And that brings me to something very important. I take this course where we talk about decolonial education, right? Decolonial education and decolonial pedagogy. And in that thing, I remember having this discussion with someone and telling someone that I always felt like we should have a course, whether it be from primary down to university, where we learned African traditional religion and traditions in depth. Now, what do I mean? After colonialism, right, a lot of things about our origin got faded away, right? And we abandoned a lot of stories that were things that actually formed us. Now, in schools, people will say, oh, in schools they do history, oh, in schools they do social studies, blah, blah, blah. I have worked in a school, right? I have seen the history they are talking about. Most times it's very surface, maybe just talking about very basic information, like nothing goes in depth, right? And I'm saying a lot of people are not even aware of cultures and traditions, even in like that exists in different places, right? And I feel like these are things we're supposed to learn in school. It's supposed to be part of us. Like, we're supposed to know that, oh, in this state, these are some kind of tradition. It even helps. For example, let me even use an entertaining thing. It even helps in like tourism. So for example, anybody that wants to experience that festival because you've learned it in school, now we only know some very popular festivals. Now I'm going beyond festival and I'm moving to traditions. There are some traditions that we are supposed to learn. We are supposed to understand what African traditional religion is before we know it was wiped under the carpet, but we're supposed to understand what it is, what it was, like in depth. And these are things that are supposed to be in the curriculum. Like, people should be aware. Now, when you are aware that certain things exist, it is easy for you to question some. Now, for example, it's easy for you to question, oh, why does this tribe have this kind of festival or this kind of tradition or this kind of thing? I don't think people can start questioning them and then speaking up for them early enough, because this is one. In so many states, in so many places, there are still so many traditions that are harmful things, because if you go back in history, there was a lot of patriarchy. So a lot of these traditions, some of them are heavily against or heavily not in favor of women, right, and girls, right? And there are also some cultures and traditions that are also very harmful to human, whether you're a man or a woman, right? There are cultures and there are traditions where they'll say once you're a foreigner, whether you're a man or a woman, people can actually kill you and eat you. You think it has faded. Some of those places still practice those things still today. So, but people are not really aware of these things, maybe just on a surface level. But I think it is important that how many there are 36 states and there are over 250 ethnic groups. But if we learn these things, let's say we start from as basic as maybe in primary school, you can learn the basics. From junior secondary school, you start going in depth. Then high school, university, we learn it. Like, we are well grounded in our African traditions and culture. It helps create a certain level of awareness that is beneficial to questioning things that are now still necessary and those that are not necessary, to save people, who remove these things and save someone, right? Because you do not know what. And the next point, I kind of combined the 2 points I had before, which is the first one of awareness and then the second one of like education, how education can come into this and be beneficial in creating a certain level of awareness that then helps people to start knowing which to question and then which to still entertain. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is internalizing the aggressor. Now, I saw this video where a girl said she went to the said place, Ozoro, and she went to the market, like she wanted to really know more about this thing. And you could see women in that video saying, hey, they want people not to come out now. They told people not to come out now. And this is not even about just this festival. It happens a lot where people start to internalize the aggressor, in the sense that a lot of people, especially the oppressed, unconsciously do not know when they start to take in the habits of their oppressors and then start to dish it out. So it's a psychological term known as internalizing the aggressor. And you see a lot of women being found in this situation, right, where they've internalized a lot of things that the society have given them, and now they now dish it out, in the sense that rather than helping and defending their fellow women, they start also speaking up, like, and saying, oh, why they start also speaking against their fellow women. Well, like I said, it's a psychological thing that you need to be aware that you fall under that category to even help yourself. And then, which brings then the last thing that was very heartbreaking to me after seeing that video was, after being in the education space for a very long time, something that has unconsciously become part of me is to notice children, like whether I'm in a public space, wherever I am, the first thing I do is to just notice the children around me unconsciously. Like, I'm in my head, I automatically feel like, oh, if there's a child here, the person has to be safe. That's something unconsciously. And then when I saw that video, the first people somehow I noticed in some of those videos I saw were the young boys. I literally could see, if you want to estimate children between, let me say, 10, 11, 12, 13, like from that age and above, I saw young children in that video. Now, the problem is that things like this, it's not just about that day. Especially for these younger children in that video, or these teenagers, you're indirectly telling them that this is okay. And this is not even about the festival. You're telling them that this is okay anytime, any day. You're telling them, you're showing them, you're giving them an image, you're teaching them. Don't forget, learning doesn't only happen in the classroom. That thing you're doing, you're also teaching them, you're showing them that it is okay to sexually harass women. It is okay to do whatever and get away with it. Like, you are literally, these are true, like. And do you know the saddest parts of all this? We're still tracing back to the family. I don't think I saw any video of any group of men being against, like opposing, like fighting back and saying, no, leave them, let them go. Maybe they don't like. There was nothing of that sort. I don't think that I saw anyone. I don't know if any of you saw, but I didn't see any fighting against this thing, telling them, no, leave the girls. I didn't see any of that. This also brings me back to, let's go back to the basic unit of a society, family. You know the saddest part of this thing? When most of these people go home, nobody questions them. Like, their parents will not question. Hope you didn't take part in sexually assaulting anybody. Hope you did not take, I'm sure they were not going to be, like, they will not be questioned for these things or they won't even be asked anything. Maybe they will just hear it like gist. Oh, you will not believe. And their parents may not even ask them, hope you did not indulge in this. So you see that it is a lot of things the problem is very much foundational. From the basic unit of the society, the family, there's a lot of job that needs to be done. Let's remember that above culture, in the sense that we created culture, we created traditions, and we should remember that when something doesn't serve a positive purpose, then it is high time. That is why we are more aware. This is like by a different generational space. We should be more confident enough to question it and ask for change. So yes, tradition is tradition, but tradition can change. Do you understand?